Hi, good evening all. So yesterday I got some internet issue. Sorry for that. So act lot of issues. Okay. The last session we discussed about the introduction to the automation testing. In that introduction to the automation testing, where I covered about the what is software testing, the types of software testing, then advantages, disadvantages of the manual testing, automation testing. What are the different possibilities are there when you go for the automation testing? Different possibilities while doing the automation testing. Then how to decide what type of projects we can go for the automation testing. Then what are the various tools are available in the market? I explain it is non-commercial tools and commercial tools which we have. Now the how to decide which tool we can go for the automation testing. As I said, majorly 3 points they are going to consider. One is called return on investment, ROI, return on investment. Second one is usability of the tool, usability of the tool. Third one is compatibility of the tool. Third one is compatibility of the tool. So what is these three things? Understand this. The tool selection criteria. Type of tools, return on investment. That means how much budget allocated to perform testing. How much budget allocated to perform testing. So based on that, can we go for the commercial tool or non-commercial tool? First, they have to decide according to the budget. Second thing, identify the requirement for tools. Identify requirements for tools. That is a usability. Usability means tester friendly behavior of the so usability of the tool, tester friendliness. So that means some tools have the capability without writing the script. By default, those tools are going to generate the automation test script to test your project. So some tools have the concept called record and playback. Some tools have the concept called drag and drop. Suppose if I go for the QTP, where we have the record and playback concept. If I go for the Tosca, we have the drag and drop to generate the script. There's a tool can generate automation scripts automatically. There's a recording option. Is available or not. Tool can generate the test results in desired format or not. Once execution is completed, the output which you are going to get result, is it easy to understand for the client? They have to check it is. Then ease of developing automation test script. In case I want to write the script manually, is it easier or difficult? The ease of developing automation test scripts. Then ease of test execution. Once I develop the automation test scripts, maybe 100 scripts I develop. In one click, I want to exit all these 100 scripts. That much flexibility is there or not in that tool. So these are the things where they have to consider. That is identify the requirements for tools, the usability of the tool. Next thing, tool will support application environment or not. Tool will support application environment or not. That is a compatible to which I said. That means if I go for the Windows based application, the tool will go into recognize the components or controls in that Windows based application, or it is a web based application, it supports or not, or it is a mobile application, will it go into support or not? a tool is going to support or not. Same way, some applications where you want to go for the cross browser testing. What is the meaning cross browser? Different browsers supports or not your application you want. Already you developed automation script. Now this script can be executed on the different browsers or not. There's a browser compatibility, OS compatibility. So these are the factors where they have to analyze to decide which tool we can go for the automation testing. That is the type of tools. Ms. Ratnan investment. Then identify the requirements for tools. That is usability. That means tester friendliness. Yeah, we discussed already during manual testing, usability testing. Same way here, tester friendliness of the tool. Then tool will support the application environment or not. That means object recognition capabilities like Windows-based, web-based, and mobile applications. Different browsers, different operating system supports are not. These are the things they have to consider. Okay. Then, is it clear, my everyone? Any doubts up to here? Okay. Now, next one, if I go for the automation testing in organization level, so who are going to involve, what kind of activities they are going to do? Automation testing process, how it is going to. In real time, who are the members are going to be automation testing team, automation testing team members generally. Members are test manager will be there, test lead will be there, automation architect will be there, automation architect will be there, and automation test engineers also will be there. Okay. Test manager, test lead, automation architect, then automation test engineers will be there. Okay. Now, what are the activities these team members are going to do in the real time? First stage, stage one. Who is responsible for this? For this, our test manager is the responsible. What is going to do here? Tool evaluation. Which tool we can use for this current project to do the automation testing? That has to be decided by your test manager. Once they decided to go for automation testing. The stage two, our test lead is the responsible. What he will do first is going to analyze the test cases. So what is meaning, sir? Analyzing test cases. Review we hear it is doing the manual testing, but why we are saying analyze test cases? That means which test cases are more repeatable on different versions of the application? Which test cases are more repeatable? Which test case are going to take the more time to execute manually? So which test case are more complex to perform manually? These things has to be analyzed. Based on that, he is going to prepare analysis sheet. That means how much efforts are required if I go for the manual testing, this kind of test cases. how much efforts are required. If I go for the test cases manually, then fourth point, same test cases. If I go for the automation testing, automation testing I want to do, test cases we can't use. What we have to use for the automation testing, we need to develop the automation test script. Right now, we have to develop the automation test script. If it is Selenium, Java. If it is QTP, we have to go for the VB script. If it is Tosca, TQL, Tosca query language, TQL, WinRunner, TSL, transaction scripting language. Like the different tools, different kind of languages we have to use. So Selenium also we have to go for the Java it is. Right. Now, in order to develop the automation tester script, how much time required? That is the estimating script development time. How much time required to develop the script? So then, okay, this sheets are prepared. Then what is going to? He will send these documents to the our test manager to get an approval and summary sheet for approval. After that, you will get the confirmations. Confirmations. These are the test lead activities. Okay, so some scenarios are decided which we want to go for automation testing. Then which tool also we decided to go for the automation testing at this level. Then what next? Who is going to develop the automation test script? Test engineers. We are the responsible. Who is going to prepare test cases? Test engineer for manual testing. Such a way, if you want to go for the automation testing, test engineers are the responsible to develop the automation test script. But generally, every company will follow the some framework to develop the automation test scripts. But test engineers are not responsible to decide which framework we have to follow to develop the automation test script. Here is the this automation architect. He is the responsible in the stage three. Now, once we got the clarity, what type of scenarios, which tool we have to go for the automation testing, based on that, first this automation architect will define coding standards while developing automation tester script. What are the standards we have to follow, such as variables we are using? Try to follow the proper naming convention. Try to give the proper comments in the programs. Like this, coding standards are going to be defined. Don't use like ABC, XYZ. Try to give the proper names for the variables. The script should be reusable. Script should be easy to maintain later stages. So that they define coding standards. Based on that, next is going to what kind of framework? Evaluate the suitable framework. What kind of framework is suitable for current project based on the tool which we are using and based on tool which you are using, and also what type of scenarios you want to go for automation testing. Up to here, your involvement is not there. Understand? Up to here, your involvement is not there. So these are all the activities are going to be done by the your test manager, test lead, automation architect. Now your activities are going to start. As an automation testing, I'm saying it is. Stage 3. Now, stage 4. Now, your activities as a testing unit. Automation testing unit. I'm talking about automation testing unit. What we have to do? Already scenarios they decided what we have to go for automation testing. Your lead is going to provide the list of scenarios for automation testing. The lead will going to provide the list of scenarios for automation testing. So based on that, so we have to implementation. The implementation means here we have to develop automation test script. Automation test script we have to develop. Once we develop the automation test script, then what we are going to do, we try to run the each automation script individually in order to confirm whether the script is going to run smoothly or not. Is there any logical errors in the program? We have to check it this. That kind of execution we call as dry run. We are going to call dry run. What is the intention here? To confirm what are the scripts we develop, those scripts are executing smoothly or not. Further, we have to go for the dry run it is. After the dry run, we need to go for the review on scripts. We have to do the review on scripts. We have to perform review. Sir, what is the purpose of the review? In test cases also I said review to check the correctness and completeness. Same way, during the once test scripts are developed here, how many test scripts we developed for how many scenarios? All the scenarios are covered or not with developed automation test script. That is the purpose we have to go for the review on test scripts. After the review is completed, then we have the next level execution. So execution means we have to run the automation test script. But whenever you want to go for the execution, you can't take your interested configuration system to go for the execution. So there should be some setup is required, configuration or software versions. These things are important. So before going to start the execution, so setup test execution environment. What type of environment required to perform the test execution activities? We have to go for the set up the test execution environment. Same way. So we are not going to do in the automation test, but this is what type of configuration system required to go for the execution. So before going to start execution, we have to cross verify whether the given required environment setup or not to go for the execution. Okay. After that, we can start the execution of automation test scripts. Okay, once the execution is completed, then what happens? Your tool is going to do the testing and going to provide the result. Okay, reporting is there. Now what we do here. So once the execution is completed, any automation tool by default will provide the some result. We have to analyze. We have to analyze test results. What the results is given, we have to analyze the test results. So based on that, we can go for the reporting defects. We have to report the defects. Then there is a maintenance. So maintenance means once you develop a script, execution done okay. But automation test, we are not going to for one-time purpose. It is for the reusability purpose. Remember, it is more and more regression testing purpose we are going to. So whenever we do regression testing, so regression testing means why we have to changes. Changes means it can be defects are identified or we got some change request from the client. According the new features are going to add. Whenever new features are added, those features also we have to go for the automation testing or not. For those automation testing purpose, we have to develop the automation test script or not. That is comes under maintenance here. So what they're saying here, we have to go for the enhancement or update scripts as per new change requests from the client. So these are the automation testing team. These are the automation testing team activities. So let us see now once again. So automation testing team members are going to be like this. You have the test manager, test lead, automation architect, automation test engineers. First stage, as a test manager, he is responsible to decide what type of tool we can use for the automation testing. As I said earlier here, so how the deciding factors for the tool, return on investment, usability of the tool, compatibility of the tool. Based on that, he is going to decide it is. Then test lead. He is going to analyze the test cases. What type of test cases are complex to perform manually? Which test case are going to take more time to go when we go for manual testing? Or which test case are again and again we have to perform when you got the build from development team? So those things, if I do manual testing, how much efforts are required? Same test cases, if I want to go for automation testing, to develop the automation test script, to develop the automation test script, so how much time it's going to take? Then this information has to send to the manager to get an approval, and you will get the some confirmations from the lead, so manager. After that, so automation architect will involve here. What he will do, what type of, so architect what is going to here. So based on the tool, based on scenarios for in application, he will define the first coding standards. Then what type of framework is more suitable? Whether we have to go for Cucumber framework, or we need to go for test engine framework, or we need to go for the phase object model framework, or we have to go for data driven framework. Based on the scenarios, based on the tool, you will going to decide it is. Okay, now scenarios are there and framework also defined. Now you are going to involve as a test engineer. What we do here, we are going to start the implementation. That means we are going to develop the automation test script. First scripts are execute developed. Then we have to go for the dry run. That means one time we have to go for the execution to confirm those scripts which you developed, those are executing smoothly or not. Is there any issues for that? After that, we have to go for the review on the scripts. Every scenario which they given to do the automation testing, everything is covered or not. We have to go for the review. After that, we can go for the execution. But before going to start the execution, make sure required environment setup is provided or not. Then we can go for the execution of automation test script. Okay. Then reporting, analyze the test results, reporting defects. Then maintenance, so means enhancements and update the scripts as per new change request. These are the activities are going to be done. Okay. Now some of the students who joined newly for the automation testing, so I forgot to say that notes will be forwarded to you and recording sessions also will be given to you. So once registrations are done, I will going to forward WhatsApp group I'm going to create. So there I am going to post the day-to-day class notes, whichever I explain. The corresponding notes I will going to upload in the our WhatsApp group, as well as recording sessions. That my admin is going to provide the links to you. You can able to drive link they are going to provide. You can able to tally. You can access. You can watch it is okay like this. Now, next thing, some of the major activities during the manual testing and automation testing. We'll see. If I go for software testing, okay. So the software testing have the two types, right? One is called manual testing. The other one is called automation testing. Okay. First one is I will consider as a manual testing. The second one is automation testing. Manual testing, automation testing. Okay. Now, what are the major activities are there when you go for the manual testing? Understand my fear. The major activities are going to be like this. What we do during the manual testing. The very first thing we need to identify test scenarios. So first thing we have to identify the test scenarios. Based on these test scenarios, we are going to prepare test cases and test data. Test data means so data are values which we use to validate the application. How do you prepare the test data, optimal test data? By using boundary value analysis and equivalence class partition techniques, we are going to derive the test data, right? So identify test scenarios, then prepare test cases and test data. After you prepare the test data here, the next activity will be we have to go for the execution of test cases. But before going to start the execution, we have to do one activity. We have to go for the review on our test cases in order to confirm what are the test cases are prepared. All these test cases are sufficient or not to test the application. All the requirements are covered or not. Further, we have to go for the review. So can anyone give the message to me in the chat box? How do you analyze gap between how do you analyze gap between scenario requirements to the your test cases? All the requirements are covered or not in the application as per your test cases. How do you analyze it is? Demo lectures, there is no demo lecture. The actual subject is started. So this is the introduction. So interview point of view, even the fresher experienced person, there will be some questions asked from this portion. Okay. Today, introduction to automation testing concept I am going to complete. Monday class, we are going to start the Selenium concepts. Okay, money. Okay. Now, anyone can give the answer in the chat box. What is the question I asked? How do you analyze gap between requirements to the your test cases? How do you analyze gap between requirements to the test cases? Write in the chat box. Do you remember RTM? RTM is requirements traceability matrix. So after test case are written, every test case they are going to map it to the corresponding scenario in order to understand all the scenarios are covered or not with written test cases. That is the requirements traceability matrix. In manual testing, the one of the important question. Okay. After execution of the test cases, then they can go for the so defect reporting. We have to go for defect reporting and make sure those defects should be resolved by the developers. That is getting it fixed. So these are the activities when you go for the manual testing. So identify test scenarios. Based on the scenarios, we have to derive the test cases and test data. Then we can go start execution. No tool is required, right? Manual testing is. Then you can go for defect reporting. Then finally, make sure whichever you reported, those has to be resolved. So getting it fixed. These are the activities. Then automation testing. See, when you go for the automation testing, first thing we have to identify automation test scenarios. Identify automation test scenarios. Once you identify the automation test scenarios, based on the scenarios, we have to develop automation test script. We have to develop the automation test script. After you develop the automation test script, then we can start the execution of test scripts, run our scripts. So once the execution is completed, the tool is going to provide the test result in terms of pass or fail. Once execution is completed, the tool is going to provide the test result in terms of pass or fail. Now, what we have to do as a test engineer, we should analyze test result to know that what scenarios are passed, which scenarios are failed. So we have to analyze the test result. So based on that, we can go for the reporting defects, reporting defects, and make sure whichever defects you reported, those has to be resolved by the developers, getting it fixed. Now these are the activities during the automation testing we are going to perform. So the activities. Okay, like this. Now, if I go for manual testing, these are the major activities. If I go for the automation testing, these are the major activities. Now, see, execution of test cases, who is going to do? Test engineers are going to do. We are going to do it is. Directly we are going to operate application. But execution of test script time, where tool is going to perform it is. Your tool is going to do. That is what the definition which I given earlier also. What is meaning of automation testing? Automating human activities in order to validate the application. Human activities means execution activity. Do test cases execution time. What we do, that activities we are going to automate. It's called automation testing. Now my question is here, if you decided, your company decided to do the automation testing, then do you think testings are required or not? If the company decided to do the automation testing, do you think testings are required or not for the project? Sima, so during the execution time of your test cases, tool is going to do. But who has to develop the automation script here? So who has to analyze that what type of scenarios are required for automation? So test engineers. So developing automation test engineers, analyze the test result test engineer, defect reporting we have to do, getting it fixed, we have to ask the developer to fix it is. So except the execution time, remaining activities testing has to do. That means even though you decided to go for the automation testing, so we can't avoid the human resource. We have to maintain the test engineers. We have to maintain the test engineers. Okay. So instead of 10 test engineers, you can able to manage with two test engineers to go for the, so two to three test engineers instead of 10 test engineers, we can do automation testing. Okay. Now here I said it is we have to identify the test scenarios. But here I said it is identify the automation test scenarios I said. Sir, here, what type of scenarios can be preferred for the automation testing? What type of scenarios are preferred for the automation testing? Which is scenarios are preferred for the automation testing? So scenarios which are suitable for automation testing. In general, the scenarios which are more repeatable, and complex to perform manually. The scenarios which are more repeatable and complex to perform manually. Those kind of scenarios we go for the automation testing. That's the basic selection criteria of the scenario, for which scenario we can go for automation testing. The scenarios which are more repeatable and complex to perform manually. Okay. Now here you understand the example. If I go for the build verification test scenarios, that means some scenarios every time we have to test to confirm whether build is stable for thorough testing or not. Those kind of scenarios we can prefer automation testing. Same way, a regression test scenarios also where every time again and again you want to do whenever modified build you got. So a lot of time taking manual testing. If you have the automation test, quickly we can complete the regression testing activities for your project. Same way, retesting scenarios. Now here we have different kind of, so meaning here, retesting scenarios means not like what we discussed in the manual testing. Defects are resolved or not, for that we go for retesting. But automation testing, different definition. So retesting scenario means which scenarios are required, multiple set of data to validate. Which scenarios are required, multiple set of data to validate. Thus, the retesting scenarios are going to come. Suppose I want to check customer registration functionality with 1,000 records can able to register or not in my application. That is the retesting scenarios. I want to test the login functionality with a multiple set of user ID and password values. That also comes under, so retesting scenarios during the automation. Those kind of scenarios are preferred for automation testing. Those kind of scenarios are preferred for the automation testing. Then, sir, what type of scenarios are not suitable for automation testing? Scenarios which are not suitable for automation testing. In simple, we can say that scenarios which are not repeatable and easy to perform manually. What type of scenarios are simple and easy to perform manually and which are not repeatable? Those kind of scenarios we don't prefer for automation testing. Example, GUI test scenarios. That means graphical user interface test scenarios. What are the things comes here? Look and feel of the application, such as availability of the components, font size, font style, clarity of the image object. These things we are not going to prefer automation. Manual only we are going to. It's easy to perform. Then usability test scenarios. That means to check the user friendliness of the application, such as tab key implementation, error messages are meaningful or not, help document is understandable or not, function keys implementation, combination keys implementation. That comes under usability related test scenarios. Usability test scenarios. Then one-time testing activities. Only one time we want to test. We never go for the automation testing. Directly we can do manual testing. It is same way. New features are implemented, and those are not tested manually. So at least one time manually they have to testing. So new features are implemented, but those are not tested manually. Then don't go for directly automation testing. So new features also one time we have to go for manually. It's fine. Then we have to go for the other activities. Okay, like informal testing activities. That means without proper planning, you want to go for some testing activities, which are also not preferable. Like this, the scenarios which are suitable for automation testing, the scenarios which are suitable for the manual testing only. Now the question is here, sir, you have some scenario which you said both we have to test. So this type of testing, this type of activity also we have to test. Then for same project, so both teams can work or not? Yes, it is. For one project, there can be development team as well as testing team. Both teams are going to work for one project. Okay. So for one project, there can be manual testing team as well as automation testing team will involve. But automation testing is an optional. But every project automation testing is not mandatory. It is an optional. Automation testing is an optional. Now, the question is, sir, when we can start preparing test cases for manual testing, when we are going to develop the automation test script, when we can start developing manual test cases, when we are going to develop the automation test scripts. No, understand my here. Generally, test cases for manual testing means whenever requirements are finalized, one copy of the requirements are given to the test engineers. We can take one copy, we can start writing the test cases. Okay. Once application developed, they given to you, then you can execute your test cases. This is what the so test cases means once requirements are finalized, we can start writing test cases. Okay. But automation test script, when we are going to develop this, after you got stable build from development team, after getting stable build from development team, then we can go for them. So automation test script implementation. So application required while developing automation test script. But manual test case means no need of application. With the reference of the requirement documents, we are going to prepare the test cases. See, but these are the different questions we have. So interview point of they can ask you, even though you are experienced or you are the fresher, definitely this type of questions will be asked nowadays. Minimum questions to ask. Okay. So that is a class for us. So tomorrow we don't have the session, but we have the next class on Monday. So Monday means Holi is there, but Holi is going to complete the after no, by after it's going to complete. So evening we'll have the session. It is we have the session. So Monday we have the session. Tomorrow, Sunday we don't have automation session. Okay, we have the next session on Monday. Monday we are going to start the selenium concepts. So theoretical automation introduction is over. Now, who are completed registration, who joined newly for the selenium, you can give the your mail ID to me in the WhatsApp number, my WhatsApp number, so that I will share the today class notes. So, do you have anyone have any doubts, Mahi? Sir, how many days it will take our automation testing process? It will take around the 35 sessions it's going to take manual automation testing class. So as I said earlier, we're going to cover the Java as well as so Selenium concept. Core Java concepts will be covered along with some OOPS concepts also. Okay. So who doesn't have any programming knowledge, you don't worry. So you can able to understand, you can able to practice, you can able to work at the company level. So that much level we are going to discuss. Only thing who doesn't have the any programming knowledge, that person has to sit little bit more patiently to practice the concepts. During the practicing time, if you got any issues on your automation test script execution time, then you can send a screenshot of your script along with the exception which you got, so that I will give the solution to you. What is the problem, where we have to rectify it is. Okay. So it is clear. Any doubts are there for anyone?
Yeah, hello sir.
Hmm.
Till yesterday I missed the lecture, so
Today I
uh,
repeated that portion again, right from the beginning. This is what we discussed so far. This is the only automation testing portion. These are the concepts we discussed.
and when our demo sessions will end.
Today is it is end.
Okay.
So this is the only first session. First, I given the course content, what topics I'm going to cover. Then I started the first chapter is automation testing, introduction. These are the topics. Okay, software testing, what type of software testing it is, manual, what is automation testing. Then I explain about the project selection criteria. This only portion I covered yesterday because I got some internet issue yesterday. That's the reason I stopped the session there. Okay. So that is my number also given to you. So if you have any further doubts also, you can use a message to me in the WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you. So that is the class for us. Okay, Pranav. So see you on Monday it is. But who are the attending from the manual testing portion? I will give the message to tomorrow also. Automation class is not there, no need to join. So who are joined already manual testing portion, I will give the message to when I am going to take the class. But automation testing students can join Monday only it is. Okay. Thank you. See you on Monday. Thank you everyone. So bye.